Good morning. I'm not getting used to the dark mornings. I don't like it. It's definitely harder to get up. Also, I'm dreaming about work. It's never a good thing when you're dreaming about work. Especially when you're dreaming about work and things are going wrong. That's what was going on. And it was just, I don't need stress in the dreams. Life can be stressful enough without having to have stress in your dreams. When there's no reason to be stressed. Because it's not real. So yeah, that was last night. Start this morning. It's the 6th today. So in 15 days it'll be the 21st, which is the shortest day. And then it'll start getting lighter again. So if we've got another 15 days of it getting darker and shorter days, and then it'll start reversing. It's just over 2 weeks. Because it won't just immediately like that go light, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Anyway, time to get on. Good evening. It is hump day. I don't know where that saying came from and why I've decided to pick it up. Is it normally one of those things that annoy me, considering I am a grumpy so-and-so who's old before their time. I know it's sort of like the Wednesday, it's the middle part of the week, over the hump of the hill, it's just downhill towards the weekend from this point, close to the end of the week than the start, but it's still, relatively speaking, a kind of a stupid saying, so I don't know why I've let it creep into my vernacular. And although maybe it's a bit of personal growth, the fact that I'm not allowing it to annoy me, and I am taking it on, becoming a little less of a sourpuss. I don't know. It does definitely sound like an Americanism. Having this discussion with my dad a little while back. He says he can hear in my speech patterns quite a few Americanisms. Because, quite a lot of TV shows nowadays are coming from across the way, across the pond, from the old Yanks. I don't know, some of my favourite TV shows are, Big Bang Theory, NCIS, Numbers. I'm gonna have to watch that again at some point. Also Chuck. So a lot of Americanisms have dropped into the way I talk because of my exposure to that popular culture. But yeah, sometimes watching American TV shows and there's sort of things that are meant to be jokes, references, and it just goes completely over my head, and I'm sure it does for a lot of Brits, because it sort of references to things in America which is kind of meaningless to us, same as there's probably some jokes in British TV that wouldn't translate over there because they wouldn't understand it. Probably any jokes about the NHS would go completely over the head, considering they don't have a National Health Service, and Obama tried bringing it in, got crucified for it, and now Trump has repealed it. And the fact that some Trump supporters who were relying on this cheaper form of medical care were actually supporting the repeal of it because the propaganda campaign of calling it Obamacare and had somehow managed to sort of create this separation from what they had to what they thought Obamacare was. But it's really sort of, so like, you know, back in medieval times, only landowners had the right to vote. So it's the rich and powerful were the ones that voted and chose the MPs and chose the laws. So obviously they chose laws that would benefit them and make it more difficult for the poor sods who served them to do anything other than make them money, make the rich people money. And now you've got a rich man get into power in America, and rather than make the rich pay a little bit more money to help give the poorest in society, who they barely pay, while they're making their millions and billions out of their companies, give them access to decent healthcare, which should be a basic human right. They've repealed it in order to save themselves some money. It just goes to show that nothing's changed. It is still the rich using their money to buy power and then using it to make more money, so then they can buy more power. It's depressing. And that's my fear over Brexit, is while there's an awful lot of truly stupid legislation from the EU, there's also some extremely important legislation when it comes to protecting workers' rights, which will no longer be UK law, and then they have to you then have the MPs who then sit there and decide on it, on whether they will keep that law or whether they'll amend it. And most of them, if they aren't themselves involved in those big businesses, the way they got into power, when they were financed by the people who were the heads of those big businesses and who want to make us work more for less. So that's the scary thing about Brexit, is not just will the economy tank again, but what rights will we lose by the fact that a lot of European laws that protect us will get repealed, and then will have to be voted on how they'll look in future. There we go. There's an extremely cheery thought for you on your Thursday evening, brought to you from my Wednesday evening. Alright. Have a lovely end to your week. See you tomorrow.